Hello, everyone. It's me, Leslie Castro, and we have our other amazing meteorologist right now,
Thank you.
Davion Huggins. Dan Scoff is going home to take care of a few things, but he will definitely be.
Gotta get the house prepared for the winter storm.
Exactly. He's just been here working hard all day today, and I don't blame him. Now's the time to prepare if you have not yet done so. He was calling around for some places asking, if they still had salt. And
a lot of places, the answer was no. So hopefully you took today. It was a very nice day today, but
yeah,
I hope you took today to get what you need to get done around the house and things of that nature, because it's almost game day. It's almost game time. With this winter storm that's moving towards us.
Yeah, and I guess we could honestly just jump kind of straight into it. We have a little bit of time before the 7 p.m., but we wanted to give you guys a quick, little update in between the newscasts here to show you what is going on.
Yeah, and there's that storm. It's still churning, looking ever so healthier as we continue to see as we've been through the past several hours. And you guys know that it has a lot of energy from the Pacific. I wish we could change that just a little bit. You see that all of that abundant Pacific moisture is coming in behind it. And of course, that is the Baja region. Models kind of struggle with Baja energy, especially we have little small areas of lift out in front of that. You'll see that more on the vorticity. We might as well just go through it right now, but you can see all of that on the vorticity, all of that those smaller areas of lift out in front of it. Models don't really handle that well in terms of precipitation, especially the high resolution models. So we're going to have to really watch out and see what this does. But we're thinking that precipitation, as of right now, we got an idea. It's going to start maybe as freezing rain and mixed precipitation, and it'll be very light, maybe freezing drizzle, I should say, for late Friday afternoon. But after we get into the Friday evening time frame, that's where we're going to start to see that storm start to take its shape.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And so much so that we actually saw winter storm warnings go out into effect today, which is, something definitely to keep in mind here. And also kind of wanting to go a little bit through their wording as well when it comes to that. It's loading here, so give us some time. Our systems have been working overtime today, looking through all of, these graphics and making sure they're all updated. But the winter storm warning is in effect from noon Friday, so 12 p.m. tomorrow all the way up until 3 p.m. Sunday. Now, before that, there were some watches that were going up until 12 p.m. Sunday, but now with the warning 3 p.m. Sunday. So this system has been slowing down just a little bit. So that's why they've been adding more and more time to these watches and warnings as they've gone about. But the verbiage here says, total snow and sleet accumulations could be anywhere between 6 to 12 inches, and if not more in some areas. Locally higher amounts could amounts up to 15 inches, especially with ice accumulation possible, especially south of Interstate 40. And we've been keeping an eye on the potential for some of that accumulation, especially in terms of sleet along Interstate 40, and also been keeping an eye on what the models are kind of showing with that, whether we're expecting that warm nose to dive in a little bit farther north, or if it's just going to be confined to just south of Interstate 40.
Yeah, the model's trending on that warm nose is really going to be a big thing that we have to keep an eye on. The NAM right now has like the most warm-nosed bias solution that you could possibly paint for our area. Unfortunately, that means if you're hoping for a very high snow totals for whatever reason, because I'm not, but if you are, it looks like the amount of sleet with that warm nose as well as freezing rain will start to dig into some of those totals. Nonetheless, it's still going to be a lot of sleet on the ground as well. And that's still, of course, hard to drive in and
even cleaning up after sleet. It's not going to be easy as shoveling just dry fluffy snow there, but instead just sleet. It's going to be a little bit of a mess to deal with.
Right.
So
speaking of the dry fluffy snow, that is north of the warm nose.
Yeah,
that is going to be the type of precipitation we're going to see. So if you're hoping to build snowmen, it's maybe going to have to wait until overnight into the next day when it starts to harden up a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be fluffy snow, and it's not the kind that's going to stay intact. And snowman might look a little funny.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And we were kind of we were showing at the very beginning the 4 W's, what you need to know. So we'll go ahead and cover this as well as, the timeline and the potential amounts of accumulation we could expect, because I know these are some of the questions that people ask for the most. So what is the threat? Now, the threat is frozen precip is looking likely, areas of heavy snow also looking likely, the heavy snow especially towards northwest Arkansas. Now, sleet and ice is a major concern, especially down to the south. Now, when does it arrive? We believe a good portion of the wintry precip will be starting around Friday 6 p.m. and then heavy snow picking up early Saturday morning. Now, there's a little bit of a break afternoon Sunday, but that will be picking back up into Saturday evening. And so we've been kind of talking about like, hey, that break is Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon might trick people and be like, okay, the snow's over. Unfortunately, we are looking at a second round
Right.
to
Right.
follow through Saturday into Sunday.
Right. We don't want you to think that, okay, when that first break comes, that little lull in activity, maybe the showers get a little lighter. Think, oh, that's all the snow we're going to get. You guys were way off. No, there's going to be another resurgence of moisture
Oh
coming
yeah.
later on Sunday night, or Saturday night, I should say, into Sunday night. So where will it hit? You'll see heavy snow, northwest Arkansas, 8 to 12 inches, higher terrain where the snow doesn't have a lower level to reach the ground. Certainly going to be isolated areas over a foot possible. Sleet, ice, and snow, the wintry mix, all of that, the slushiness is going on in the river valley. So of course that's going to eat at some of your snow totals. That's why it's a little less, 2 to 6 plus inches. And there could be some ice storm potentials in the Ouachitas. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on that, especially as this warm nose continues to be very aggressive. We could see more freezing rain down there. And why, of course, will it occur? We have an intense, potent low pressure system. We showed you that at the very start of the I almost said the newscast. This is Facebook, not news. But the warm nose, of course, we have the warm nose. You keep asking, warm nose, what is that? So the temperatures just above our heads at about 850 millibars, 5,000 feet, actually above freezing in some areas. And that's allowing that snow to melt in that layer.
Exactly.
And then it will refreeze on the way down. And that's where you get the sleet. And if it's a shallow layer of warm air, then you get the sleet. If it's a very thick layer of warm air and shallow at the surface, then you get freezing rain.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of effect that we're seeing in the river valley.
And so that could allow for copious amounts of precipitation there. And, we've just been eyeing this nonetheless. And even the accumulations we've been looking at have been quite, substantial. And the models are still showing a wide range in terms of the accumulations, to say the least. I mean, we were just looking at, what was it, the NAM?
Yeah,
the NAM was showing like
a ridiculous amount of I don't even want to repeat what the NAM was saying. Even the euro, I don't know if the euro is bugging out, honestly, just a little bit, because it had some of those. Let me see if it had some of those precip totals like 30 inches, and I was like, okay, all right, well, now we're getting ahead of ourselves. This isn't what we're going to see. But nonetheless, we do have a very impactful storm coming, and it will be dumping a lot of precipitation, but 30 inches is kind of ridiculous.
I agree so too. So we decided we're just going to come up with our own totals here, a rough estimation of what we could expect. And this could still be higher in some areas. Notice that it just doesn't say 12 inches. It says 12 inches and maybe possibly more. So we zoom in a little bit to northwest Arkansas, especially in the higher elevations, and just along parts of the Ozarks here, you could see at least 12 inches, if not just a little bit more there. And then for at least along Interstate 49, you could expect anywhere from 8 to 12 inches, if not just a little bit more in terms of the accumulations as well.
Right. And now we have a question about the type of snow. So really quickly, this is not going to be the kind of snow that you're going to be able to build snowmen in, at least not for the first day. I mean, you have to wait until it like kind of refreezes and hardens a little bit, because we're expecting the kind of dry powder snow to be blowing. I did see another question that was asking about blizzard conditions. Absolutely not. We're not seeing blizzard conditions here. Winds will be blowing upwards of 20 miles per hour. A few gusts a little higher, but blizzard conditions, no, we're not going to see that.
Yeah, I think the main concerns when it comes to what the conditions are going to be looking like out on those roads is just from the amount of accumulation we're going to be seeing more than anything else, like sleet, snow, and eventually heading into the coming days, which this is something we've hardly had time to touch on. The fact it's going to be cold right after. I mean, we're under an extreme cold warning there.
Not to skip past the river valley, you guys are certainly going to get a fair share of sleet as well as ice. And of course, we're still going to watch the ice storm potential for the Ouachitas. Certainly going to be upwards of half an inch of ice. That's going to cause a lot of problems to infrastructure. But the cold air is also going to be a very big issue.
Yes, it is. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, we're going to have this winter storm moving through, But you also have to consider the fact that, hey, what if the snow melts and then it refreezes and then it melts and then it refreezes? Then you're going to run into a situation where you have black ice. The roads conditions may not always be clear from time to time. So you're still looking at hazardous road conditions. And now we've been seeing the wording kind of go out there that's like avoid travel if all possible. And I don't know if you could pull it up, the severity index. We've also been kind of showing this is further up. The severity index gives us a really good view as to what we could expect.
Does he have this in his shit?
He heard
He should have had it. Did he hide it?
Here, let me find it.
Yeah, it should be on mine. But nonetheless, we're going to have certainly some very big problems behind this system with this cold air. You make sure you're treating it with taking the proper steps, because hypothermia is a real issue that could happen, as well as frostbite, if you don't take the necessary precautions to be outside for extended periods of time.
Yes, and now the winter storm severity index, there we go. It's just now populating. It actually just decreased some. Hold on.
Yeah, so we're going to take this forward really quickly just so you can see.
So just earlier, like literally a few minutes ago, like as of 30 minutes ago, this was all red. And so what all red means is you could expect major impacts. So you could expect considerable disruptions to daily life and widespread closures, and avoid travel if possible. Now that was in the red area. Now the orange area stands for moderate impacts. So you could still expect disruptions to daily life, as well as some closures and disruptions to infrastructure that may occur, but use extra caution with driving here.
I'm curious to know if this is updated by the latest model outputs and if this is following the pump fake or not. I don't see a reason why we would decrease with all of the moisture coming in our area, whether it's snow, sleet, freezing rain. I think the red is we had the red in the newscast 30 minutes ago. It's probably going to be back to red in the next 30 minutes. So take this with a grain of salt. I do think we're going to see major, at least moderate to major impacts across the entire coverage area. The entire coverage area, whether it's mostly snow, mostly sleet, freezing rain, is going to be impactful. Travel is not recommended, but if you absolutely have to travel for whatever reason, make sure you're taking the necessary steps that you need to make sure you're safe.
Yeah. And the reason why we're giving you guys this information is because we're not trying to cause panic. That's quite literally the opposite. We want you guys to be as prepared as possible when it comes to approaching this system.
That's very true.
What was the saying that Dan was saying earlier that is now
prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best.
Exactly. Yes. And so that's the mindset we're going to be going through with, this weekend. We'll definitely be keeping you guys updated. Coverage will be provided over the weekend, of course, especially from us. We want to make sure you guys are as informed as possible. And, even heading into tomorrow, the models could say something different tomorrow. Exactly. That's the thing. Whatever they're saying right now, we cannot be.
It's just like the pump fake.
Exactly. We cannot always be 100% confident in. So that's something obviously we'll keep an eye on. I do have a weather blog that has been updated from time to time on nwahomepage.com. It's one of the top stories there. So as soon as you go into the website, it'll be right there here. But unfortunately, we do have to leave very soon because Davion here is about to go on for this 7 p.m. show. But like someone said, make sure to keep your pets nice and warm.
The 4 Ps.
Exactly. The 4 Ps: pets, pipes, plants, people.
I say plants all the time.
I know. It almost got me. But yeah, that's definitely, something to keep in mind. Make sure, your property's protected, your people are protected, your pets are protected. Make sure to go with caution throughout the rest of this weekend and go prepared. Don't panic, I know this is, not an everyday scenario per se, but, if you're prepared, then you'll come out of it better than, what you're expecting it to be right now.
Very true. So we're going to go ahead and shut this down, but we will be updating you, of course, as much as we can and as fast as we can throughout the next hour by hour, really, and probably even more frequently than that, especially as we head through this weekend. I have to go and get ready for the 7 o'clock show, which is 2 minutes from now, but we're gonna keep you guys updated on all of the latest information that we have coming out.
Exactly. And Dan should be doing a live update after 10 p.m., I believe. So if you guys are looking for Dan, I know some of you guys are asking. We may not be our chief meteorologist, Dan Scoff, but you know, he's an amazing person, and make sure to check him out after the 10 p.m. show as well. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Let me switch over the camera real quick. We're just still learning the system here, but we will be seeing you later, and make sure to check back in with updates.